concise and informative.
A very beautiful morning to you and welcome to the News Machine, the hottest news magazine show on radio, and we are reaching you from our FM stations in Lagos on 93.3 FM, FM Abuja 98.3 FM, and FM Owerri 99.5 FM, 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m. Monday to Friday. I am Victor Eze. This morning on the News Machine, here are some top headlines. Federal University remains tuition-free, says Presidency, and Senate asks federal government to extradite Simon Ekpa, condemns sit at home in Southeast. And NBA condemns fight between DSS and NCOs over Emefiele. And still in the headlines, Governor Fubara wants the army to close illegal armed camps. The News Machine will be back after this message.
Now you can get your news on. Hot, fresh, exciting, and exclusive. The News Machine.
Reaching you at the same time in Lagos, Abuja, and Owerri. 3 states for the price of 1. Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m.
The News Machine. More than just news.
Hot FM.
We are more than just radio.
Welcome back to the News Machine. The Presidency has said that despite the hiking ancillary fees at several universities nationwide, tuition fee remains free in federal universities. This comes barely 5 days after Federal Unity Colleges increased the school fees for new students from 45,000 to 100,000. In a statement signed by the President's spokesperson, Dele Alake, while acknowledging the rise in fees in federal universities in the country, the Presidency insisted that these are ancillary fees and do not affect tuition. It said the authorities of these universities had explained the rationale behind these new fees, adding that the Bola Tinubu administration remains committed to its promise of ensuring that every Nigerian, regardless of the economic situation of their parents, have access to quality tertiary education. The Senate has called on the federal government to extradite the factional leader of the indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB), Simon Ekpa, from Finland. The Red Chamber also condemned the Monday sit-at-home being observed across all the states in the southeastern region of Nigeria. The senators reached the resolution during a plenary session at the National Assembly in Abuja on Wednesday. They also asked the federal government to collaborate with the Finnish government and extradite a pro-Biafran agitator, Ekpa, for prosecution. This is Senator Izunaso Osita from Imo West.
The Senate is aware that thousands of innocent lives have been lost since this action of sit-at-home in the southeast started, and properties worth over $1 trillion have been destroyed, which has resulted in investors leaving the region. Further aware that the sit-at-home civil disobedience action in the southeast has led to the disruption, vandalization, disruption of economic activities, as well as immeasurable financial losses for businesses, workers, and the total economy of the Southeast.
And this is Senator Orji Uzakalu of Abia North.
These boys have caused an industrial problem in our area. In where he represents Senator Baribe, they are mainly manufacturers. In Aba is the manufacturing hubs. None of the industries can open. People have suffered so much. Although, like what you said, as a governor, if I am still a governor, what I would have done is to find a solution within the Southeast governors. The Southeast governors need to drive the system. It's not the work of the president.
The upper chamber also resolved to invite the Minister of Foreign Affairs, when appointed, and relevant stakeholders to carry out a thorough investigation, as well as bring other sponsors of the act to book. Rivers State Governor Sim Fubara has wondered why the Nigerian military has not considered it necessary to clamp down on non-state actors who have continued to maintain armed camps in some communities in the state, brandishing sophisticated firearms publicly. Governor Fubara made the observation when he hosted a new general officer commanding GOC 6th Division, Nigerian Army Land Component Commander, Joint Task Force South-South, Operation Delta Safe, Major General Jamal Abdulsalam at Government House in Port Harcourt. The governor urged the military to end such national embarrassment.
Country like this, country of ours, where law and order should be observed, that people can parade arms before Nigerian army. There is a camp somewhere in Degema, somewhere. It is a base, a military base, and people parade arms around there. As our law got into that point that people can brandish arm before military people and you don't do anything about it. It's an insult to the states and also insult to the federal government of Nigeria.
Earlier in his remark, Major General Jamal Abdulsalam explained that having been posted to the state on the assignment, he visited to introduce himself and solicited support and cooperation from the state government.
That the Rivers State government has continued to support our operations, to support our personnel that are out there in the field, without whose cooperation we wouldn't be achieving any successes that we have been achieving. Our pledge to you is that the Nigerian Army will continue to support all your activities within limited resources available to us. I will continue to support your government. I will continue to cooperate with you. I will continue to be there all the time.
Major General Jamal Abdulsalam commended the state government for the several materials and logistics support given to the army and pledged that the division will provide adequate security to ensure the successful completion of the Port Harcourt Ring Road project. Now it's time to get the trending stories from our news machine studios at ODFM 98.3 Abuja. Let's hook up with Abuja Report.
Good morning, I'm Tanya Kokodia. Senate has called on the Ministry of Health, National Center for Disease Control, and other relevant agencies to carry out a nationwide vaccination exercise to curb the spread of diphtheria in the country. The upper legislative chamber also urged the federal government to increase funding for all institutions involved in the production and distribution of vaccines so as to effectively tackle the prevalence of communicable diseases in Nigeria. These resolutions were reached on Wednesday plenary after lawmakers deliberated on a motion raised by Senator representing Kaduna South, Sunday Katung. In his representation, Senator Katung raised alarm over the spread of diphtheria in Kaduna, which was resulted to several deaths in the state and its environs. He noted that the airborne disease, which can also be transmitted via fluid exchange, has become a major health challenge that requires urgent government attention. After the debate on the motion, Senate unanimously urged all relevant health agencies in the country to liaise with the health ministries in Kaduna and other neighboring states to intensify contact tracing with a view to curbing diphtheria spread. FCT administration has commenced the auditing of a payroll remittance on statutory and non-statutory deductions of the FCTA liabilities to its third parties beneficiaries. Flagging off the exercise in Abuja, FCT Permanent Secretary Olusade Adesola said the auditing of the payroll remittances signifies FCT's administration's dedication to ensure that the amounts deducted from its employees' salaries are promptly remitted to the rightful beneficiaries.
Remittances on payroll for both statutory and non-statutory deductions to the third parties face some setback. Some of the problems created as a result of such non-remittances include failure of FCTA retirees to claim their National Housing Fund refund from the federal mortgage man when they retire due to non-posting of deduction for and non-statutory deduction due as liability to third-party beneficiaries. The FCTA found it expedient to engage the audit consultants to audit the payroll of the FCTA from 2010 to 2022.
Managing Director, CEO of auditing firm Gordon Osage, who promised that throughout the process they will maintain open lines of communication with the FCTA, valuing its insights and inputs, noted that their findings will be presented in a clear, comprehensive and actionable manner.
As a member of Alliot Global Alliance, our collective work experiences in similar projects across the globe equipped us with a unique perspective to tackle the complexity of this audit. Throughout the process, we will maintain open lines of communication with your team. Our findings will be presented in a clear, comprehensive, and actionable manner.
Speaking on behalf of the FCT administration, staff of the chairman FCT Joint Unions Action Committee, Korede Matilukoro, who charged the consulting firm to be professional in the discharge of its assignments to achieve the much desired objective, pledged the support of the entire FCT administration workforce, about 40,000 in number, to ensure its successes. And that's all from the News Machine studios at Hot FM Abuja. Over to Lagos.
Alright, let's link up with the News Machine studios at Hot FM 99.5 Owerri for the trending news happening in the southeastern part of the country.
Good morning and welcome to our News Machine studios in Owerri. An economist with the University of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, Umuagwo Ohaji in Imo State, Dr. Desmond Echeta, has stated that interest rates should be determined by the forces of demand and supply and not by the Monetary Policy Committee. He stated this in Hot FM's flagship program, The People's Assembly, yesterday. He disclosed that too much money in circulation in the system affects the level of interest rate of the economy.
If they keep much of their deposit in banks, what that means is that the interest rate will be reduced because too much money is now in the banking system, so that the investors will go there and borrow on a low interest rate. Remember, when the interest rate is low, there will be incentive for these business organizations to go and borrow and to further production. And by so doing, you see that the system will not be checking itself. But I am not saying that they cannot regulate. They provide policy direction, but the actual determination of interest rate should be allowed in the hands of the forces of demand and supply.
Dr. Echeta listed policy systems and faulty institutions as the major factors impeding the effective implementation of the country's monetary policies.
We must have a system. The first question is, do we have a system? The answer is no, because the systems are not working. So we start up something, we look at the literatures and we don't follow the literatures the way they should be followed. Part of the reason is that the institutions are not working. You have individuals that are stronger than institutions, and that is why all these things will not work. But ideally, what are we producing in Nigeria? And it is the private sector that will actually drive investment in the economy.
The Abia State Police Command has confirmed an attack on the motorcade of the Abia State Commissioner for Trade and Investment, Dr. Chimezie Isaac Ukegbu. The incident occurred on Tuesday when the commissioner embarked on a familiarization tour to markets in the Aba metropolis. The assailants, according to the police, opened fire on the convoy, which was en route to a Koha shopping plaza in Aba, leading to the death of 2 police officers. A statement issued on Wednesday by the Police Public Relations Officer PPRO, ASP Maureen Choma, condemned the act, stating that the command remains steadfast in the resolve to bring the perpetrators to justice. Meanwhile, tension has heightened in Enugu State following the alleged killing of 3 residents as protests hit the Coal City metropolis. The traders took to the streets on Wednesday morning, protesting the sealing of their shops by the state government for not opening for business on Monday. However, the protest is said to have turned violent, with at least 3 persons reportedly shot dead. Video clips showed the lifeless bodies of 2 young men and a lady. Security forces were said to have been deployed to disperse the protesters. It is, however, unclear who fired the shots. That's all from our News Machine studios at Hot FM Owerri. Back to our studios in Lagos. I am Ifeyinwa Nwana.
You're still listening to the News Machine, reaching you from our Hot FM stations in Lagos on 93.3 FM, Hot FM Abuja 98.3 FM, and Hot FM Owerri 99.5 FM, 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m. Monday to Friday. Let's hear what correspondent Nesta Sani has for us on Voices in the News.
Former Governor of Rivers State, Nigeria, Nyesom Wike, on support for Senate President Godswill Akpabio.
If we're going to sing, we'll sing together. If we're going to win, we'll win together. We cannot say we're supporting Mr. President to win election and having won, and then we withdraw. No. It is support total. It is support total. Therefore, But whether you are in Senate, whether you are House of Reps, we have no choice but to support Godswill Akpabio as the Senate President and Tajudeen Abbas as the Speaker of the House of Reps. We say that without apology to anybody. You don't need to be liked. I've told people support for the unity of Nigeria. And the unity of Nigeria is that the South side should produce the Senate.
Moving on to the foreign scene, Mali has dropped French, which has been the country's official language since 1960 with its new constitution. Mali, which has about 70 other local languages spoken in the country, were granted national language status under a 1982 decree. Recall that Mali's junta leader, Colonel Assimi Goïta, put the country's new constitution into effect, marking the beginning of the Fourth Republic in the West African nation. Remember, you can listen to more episodes of The News Machine and watch videos of news stories online at otfm.ng. And that's a wrap on today's edition of The News Machine. Join us again tomorrow for a fresh edition. Do well to have a beautiful day.